Trojans Live, the exclusive USC Trojans coaches show.
Place is down. The kick is away. It's got the distance.
He's got it.
And it's good! And there's no time on the clock. The scoreboard clock reads 0-0-0. And the Trojans have won it.
Behind-the-scenes insights and breaking news from the student-athletes who play for the Cardinal and Gold.
Jones to get the call on the right side, and he's in the end zone for a touchdown, USC.
Trojans Live is brought to you by Cooper Tires. Count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
Now here are Jordan Moore and John Jackson.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Exhale. The Trojans are 3-0 for the first time since 2011. A clutch victory over Texas got it done tonight. We'll talk about it with the head coach, Clay Helton, defensive coordinator, Clancy Pendergast, and the man of the moment, freshman kicker, Chase McGrath. Plus, women's volleyball's Brittany Abercrombie is here to talk USC-UCLA this week. But first, JJ, it was nothing easy about that W, but it was worth it in the end.
It was worth it. We talked before the game about, would beating Texas this year make up for 10 years ago or whatever, 11 years ago?
Live in the moment.
And it wouldn't, right? But I'll tell you, that gave me as much satisfaction as I was going to get to beat Texas and have a little bit of redemption, whatever it was worth.
Well, we're going to need to change the open. There's another new walk-off field goal to add to the open of this show. I should introduce myself. I don't think I did that. I'm Jordan Moore. This is John Jackson. The head coach, Clay Helton, joins us now. Trojan fans get one free admission to the Ralph's Ultimate Tailgate Experience at select USC football home games this fall when you purchase $35 of participating items at Ralph's. Look for the signs and tags in store. Every $35 you spend gets you one admission. Coach, I mean, if there's one thing about this team that we know for sure, they respond well to adversity. I mean, again, I'm sure I've asked you this already, but what is it about this team that it seems when their backs are against the wall, they play their best football?
Yeah, I thought we learned a lot of lessons from last year, how to deal with adversity and to keep fighting, especially in close ball games against good teams. And credit to our kids. It was not a perfect game for us. And I think on any championship football team, when you're trying to win championships, you're going to have those games that you're going to have to find a way to win. And credit to our defense for really sticking in there for the majority of the game up until the last basically series of that game, for one, making it a close game, keeping it a close game, and then finally the offense clicked on there at the end and was able to make some big plays down the stretch.
I saw this last year in the Rose Bowl in watching Sam Darnold finish games, and then I saw it again last Saturday, the poise and composure in adverse situations, right? Texas takes the lead. Their sidelines going crazy, as happy as they've been since they got off the bus. And the poise in which he was able to manufacture that last drive to get in field goal range to tie it. Talk to me about his demeanor, this confidence, the moxie. What is it about him in those type of situations?
He has the same look on his face, I swear. It's just one of those. And it gives our offense and our whole team what I think all great quarterbacks do, and that's hope. In any situation, no matter what it is, you just feel like the job is going to get done, and we just got to make the plays for the quarterback. He's going to get it to us. Let's make it. Let's protect him. Let's keep it upright. And you sit there, and you're on the 35-yard line. There are 39 seconds left, and just ran a magnificent 2-minute drill like we've done it in practice a billion times, and it looked like practice. I mean, completion, spike the ball, completion, spike the ball, completion, get out of bounds. You're in field goal range in three basically throws, and then great kick by Chase to get it to overtime. Yeah,
and expand on that a little bit, because you're right. It looked like it was practice. It looked like, hey, look, we're going to do these. Or you scripted the plays and called them.
It looked easy, and it's so hard. I mean, that situation, when you break it down, it is really not a situation that usually ends positively, because with one play ends in bounds, you're done, basically.
Yeah, no question. I love the reaction of our kids. We had a dig route called on the first throw. Deontay makes a play, get down, clock stop. Everybody gets the line, fast can, boom, spikes the ball. Then we end up getting too high coverage. We practiced a double smash with an R pipe down the middle to Stephen Carr a bunch, and we end up hitting that, and then great play by Stephen Mitchell to get out of bounds there. And it was one of those things you practice every Friday. We practiced it a billion times, and the kids went out and executed.
Stay with Deontay because he's becoming the other part of this story. Why is he able to consistently be so good? I mean, I would assume we've gotten to the point where teams are trying to take him out, but his stat line is almost identical in the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah, one of the things that I think we've done a good job around here for a long time, whether it was Woody, whether it was Marquise, whether it was Nelson, whether it was Juju, we know teams are going to double team your best receiver, and the ability to make him the backside receiver in 3-by-1. Oh, he's in the slot. Oh, he's motioning into the backfield and he's a back coming out of the backfield. Oh, he's the Z receiver. To be able to hide him in different positions so he's not clouded all the time, I think is important. You even saw on the double post to be able to create a stack, to be able to get him a one-on-one situation with outside leverage. Those are creative things that you got to be able to do in game planning to be able to free up a guy like that.
So at the end of the day, what's the vibe in the offensive room? I mean, obviously you get the win, so that's a huge positive vibe, but there was a struggle to get there, and it's a negative vibe. I've been in those situations where you feel lucky to get, fortunate to get a victory. What's the vibe in the offensive meeting rooms today in practice?
Yeah, you look at Stanford. You had 630, and you look up. You had 468 in this game.
And you're complaining.
And you're going, gosh, dang, we left so much more out there. But it was one of those games that credit to Texas and Coach Orlando. They really came in to stop the 2 running backs, the zone pressure, and the loaded boxes. You saw all the RPOs that we threw on the outside because there just wasn't numbers out there, and the RPOs averaged 12 yards every time that we threw it. But it was something that. The thing that I stressed to our offense is how many times we were in the red zone and to only come away with 17 points is not us. We have three 4th down situations. We don't convert. We miss on a field goal. Those are points that could have created a large enough separation with as well as our defense was playing to end the game, and we just didn't get it done. Well,
in any other game, the wild play at the end of the first half would be our number 1 talking point. You don't really see a check down Hail Mary work very often, but my unsung hero of the game is Velus Jones because his kickoff return sets up that, and then his kickoff return at the end really puts you in a good field position. So we should give Velus a shout out. I don't even think we talked about that on Saturday night. But take us through your decision making at the end of the first half. What are you going through, and how does that play work, and how did it all work out?
Yeah, right prior to the half, I'm always trying to situational mastery in the time clock, just like the interception. We've got 30 seconds on the clock with 1 timeout. That's usually averages 5 to 6 plays, and we scored in 5 plays in the Rose Bowl. We went from the 35 to the 13 in 3 plays the other night. But in that situation, credit to Velus, and I showed it in the team meeting, both kickoff returns and how huge that was because you get out to the 38-yard line like you did right prior to half. I called the offense up. There was 12 seconds left. We had 1 timeout. I knew they would play prevent. Told our offense, hey, we're going to split a run right here. We're going to get about 10 yards, and we're going to have enough time to be able to take a shot. I'm going to call an immediate timeout, and then we'll do our Hail Mary play. And that Hail Mary play sends 4 receivers deep with Rojo leaking out late. Sam did not think he could get it all the way there. Was a little bit off balance going to his right, but saw Rojo. He dumps it down to him. We always throw it deep in practice, so credit to him. He checks it down, and then Stephen Mitchell makes a huge block.
Yeah, and is that Stephen on his own peeling back there?
That was Stephen on his own.
Okay, so it's not some set screen, basically, because it almost worked out like a perfect basketball play.
He actually, we always say convoy into the end zone, lead your buddy into the end zone, and he saw it, and he actually, if you look back at the tape, he's waving at him to, hey, come here, I'll make the block right, I'll make the ball right. So great job by him.
He goes in untouched. I mean, what a wild play that was, setting off what would be certainly a wild ending to that game. Hey, remember, if you're watching on Facebook Live, facebook.com/USC Trojans, you can fire in some questions, and we'll see if we can pull one here for Coach. We have another segment with him coming up next. Talk some defense, talk some Cal, familiar faces on that Bears sideline coming up this Saturday. More to come on Trojans Live. Head coach Clay Helton here. Get behind the wheel today at your Southern California Chevy dealer and see for yourself why Chevrolet keeps bringing home award after award. Learn more at SoCalChevy.com. All right, we've got another segment here with the head coach as the Trojans get ready for the Bears. And we got a question here Corey Wild wants to know, how is Porter Gustin doing? I mean, the guy has surgery on a Wednesday, gets back-to-back sacks on a Saturday. He's not really human. I imagine he's not on any sort of human timetable. I saw a photo of him today in high school. I guess he played a playoff game with casts on his right and left arm to the elbow. So I don't know. How is Porter doing? And how would you even judge him?
I'm going to tell you, he is Superman. And be able to have that surgery, get cleared by the doctors, come out and perform like he did with 2 sacks. Credit to him. Went as far as he could go helping his team. And actually has now a shoulder and bicep injury that's going to take a little time to heal, as well as that toe is going to take a little bit of time. But, man, credit to him. The way he played is phenomenal. We're listening day to day, but in actuality, it could take a little time.
And with that, you had several injuries, but there were several guys that also had to step up, whether it be Murphy, Wale stepped in there, Christian Rector was phenomenal. Another next man up type of situation. Just how proud are you because it didn't look like the defense dropped off. With all these guys falling down like flies, the defense still maintained their level. Good thing they maintained their level of consistency.
I had talked about earlier about if it was last year, because we really only had one solid defensive line, and we were able to stay healthy through the year. If we would have had that last year, it may have been a different story for the season. But you look up this year, and all of a sudden a Christian Rector goes in and plays nose 3 and gets 6 tackles. Gets a sack and a half, two and a half TFLs. Wale comes in there and is disruptive to give Chinna a little break. Connor Murphy plays well. Jordan Iosefa comes in for John Houston. And there was no lack of production, and that's where I felt we were as an entire team. I thought our 1s and 2s are more even than the drop-off that maybe we had last year because of youth and lack of numbers. We've really got a 1 to 2 deep. We need to get some people back healthy. A couple more injuries could hurt us. But right now, to see those kids play well, very proud.
Well, you get no break. 12 straight games, so you knew that. You knew that this would be part of it, too. And, at near the end of camp, you were asked a lot about the kicking situation, and you openly talked about it being a battle and how you weren't necessarily sure where you were going to go. At what point did you realize Chase McGrath is the guy, and at what point did you really start having the confidence in him that was clearly rewarded on Saturday night?
Yeah, he continued to progress through camp week in and week out, and then had a real hot last 2 weeks prior to the first game and looked really confident. And where Michael was performing maybe a little bit better in kickoff, he was performing better on the field goals and very confident. And also saw such leg talent to be able not to where he's at as a freshman. I can't imagine where he can be as a junior and senior. So kind of felt it towards the end of camp, but you never know until a guy gets into the game and has to kick.
Now you could not have designed a scenario to find out quicker than this.
Not 1, but 2.
Right.
Game-winning kicks. Credit to him. He just had even on the last kick, and when they called timeout, he came over and he had a smile on his face, and I shook his hand and said, "Hey, congratulations, you're getting ready to win this game." And he shook his head like, "I know." He had confidence.
We're going to talk to Chase in here in just a moment, by the way.
Yeah, and that's what I really wanted to know from him is when you looked into his eyes when he went out there to try to win the game. What level of confidence did you have from him?
Yeah,
his vibe to you.
Yeah, there's no fear in his face. Usually, when you can see the freshman, you go across and go, "Yeah, he's ready. Yeah, he's ready." Oh my God, there's a big deer in the headlight eyes. I mean, he was ready to go, and I even told him, I looked dead at him and said, "Hey, congratulations, you're getting ready to kick a game-winning field goal here." And he shook his head, and he's like, yeah, you could just tell he knew he was going to make it.
And he set off a frenzy in the Coliseum, but all night, I mean, what do you make of that atmosphere? I mean, it sort of had a weird bowl game thing because you have to give credit to the Texas fans. Boy, they turn up, and they made noise. And the USC fans responded.
It was something really special to see all the former great players there. There's Matt Leiter and Fix Young and Ray Mallug. I mean, and movie stars. Matthew McConaughey. I was like, you're like, man, this is bigger than big. This is an unbelievable environment. And I thought both fan bases did a tremendous job. I thought our fans were extremely loud, electric the entire game. And really, we felt them the entire game. And credit to Texas, how well they traveled and came down to support their team. It was just a great college football atmosphere and a great college football game.
Yeah.
Now, how does this play out this week with Justin Wilcox on the other side? I mean, obviously, you're very familiar with him. He's very familiar with what what the USC likes to do. Do you have to make any extra adjustments because he is so familiar with USC?
No, he's doing some of the things that he did while he was here. You can tell that he's added a little bit from his Wisconsin days. And Coach DeRuiter, we played Coach in the Vegas Bowl, and he's got a couple of his wrinkles in too. So I'm glad we're playing him in Game 4. I would be in a guessing game a little bit in Game 1. But they are. I tell you what, credit to both those men. Their defense is playing extremely well. Played well against North Carolina, well against Ole Miss. The kids are playing so hard. They're flying around and doing a great job of getting turnovers too. They're doing a tremendous job. So it's another good defense we're going up against. Another movement defense, pressure defense, 3-4 defense. It's going to be a challenge, and we look forward to heading up there.
Yeah, David Vossler wants to know, in terms of style, how does Cal's defense compare to Texas and Stanford? Are they a similar look?
Yeah, this is a 3-4 scheme. 3-4 scheme for the majority of the time. They'll play some 4 down in nickel situations on 3rd down. But this is a movement defense that likes to pressure. So very similar to what we saw at Texas. It was our first time to see an odd front for the year. In training camp, we're going against Clancy, who's a 4-down front. We practiced 3-4 during training camp to get a heads up, and then you go into the first 2 ball games, 2 4-down teams, and then you play a good Texas defensive front playing 3-4, and it was an adjustment for us. Obviously, we made some mistakes. I thought protection-wise we held up okay. Run game-wise, we need to get better.
Yeah, and similar to Texas, they have 2 outstanding linebackers for Cal as well. Downs and Davison are real beasts in there, just like the Texas guys. I mean, they really have.
Downs won Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week today.
Yeah, no question.
What does that do? What challenges do they pose for you, just in particular?
They can run the alleys, and they love to bring the interior pressure with those kids. They're kind of like the 4th rusher, and they cause havoc from everywhere. But the 3-4 defense is built for you to have to concentrate on the big men up front and let the linebackers run the lanes. And you saw that with Jefferson the other night. That Malik had a great game. And here comes 2 more linebackers that are playing at a high level that have a lot of experience. So good challenge for us.
Well, you built that wall around the Coliseum that you wanted, 3-0, and you're undefeated in the Coliseum over your 2 years as head coach. Now, what's the challenge of handling a big road game atmosphere? Because they're 3-0. You're 3-0. This is the first time both teams have been undefeated going to this game since 2004. So I imagine it's going to be pretty good up there in Strawberry Canyon.
Yeah, you always, as a head coach, you know the older kids are used to it. They've been in major road games last season. They're accustomed to how we do things. But this will be the first time for some freshmen and redshirt freshmen that are playing right now for us to go on their first road game and know the mental toughness that comes with that and the business-like attitude that you're going up to do a job to get up there and get home. And I thought in October and November we really developed away from our home mentality, and that's something that we're going to have to recreate this season. I can already see it from the older guys. It's going to be the younger guys that we bring along with it so they can learn. Yeah,
we talked about this throughout this show in terms of the injuries. Any signs in the locker room to say, hey, look, nobody else gets hurt? Rule number 1.
Until somebody comes back, at least.
Yeah, rule number 1, don't get hurt.
Yeah, I know. We'll be saying some prayers for the next couple of days for some health. And a couple guys are getting healthy. Some guys will have to see at the end of the week where they're at. But, we need a good, healthy week practice-wise and game-wise, kind of catch our breath here.
Well, you get a nice day game. I'm happy. At least I like that day game in the Bay. We'll be home by dinner. USC Cal Saturday, 12:30. Kickoff is on ABC and right here on ESPN LA 710. Then we'll be back with Coach next week, a short week as they play Wazoo. And then 2 more home games coming up. Go to usctrojans.com/tickets. Oregon State and Utah be coming to the Coliseum after these 2 road games. So thank you, Coach. As always, next up we are going to hear from, as I said, the man of the moment. Your hero, Chase McGrath, is next on Trojans Live.